Now, lifeadministration.com presents the Life Administration Podcast. Here are your hosts, Leslie Loftus and Ryan Taylor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Life Administration. My name is Ryan Taylor, and with me, as always, is...
Leslie Loftus. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Nothing has changed in the past 37 seconds.
Same clothes, different topic.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we've got a backlog of stuff to get going. Because as we mentioned in the last one, neither one of us or our households have gotten COVID, but that doesn't mean that we've had a lot of breaks where we just couldn't get together and record out of abundance of caution.
Yeah. I think normally...
And then it killed our rhythm.
Yeah, no, for sure. And because we had excuse me,
yes.
Something entered my airway there. We had a really nice rhythm.
Yeah, we did.
And so now we're stepping back into it. And nothing has really changed. We did our big Mandalorian banter. And I think we can really just kind of jump right into this one.
Right.
But before we do, a message from our sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. So here's why I'm interested to talk about this. So I didn't know that we were going to be talking about this today, but this is, and I sort of alluded to it in the last episode where it was like, you can find different ways to build community in ways that are not really traditional anymore. But I think now this is so much harder than it was last year. And so the episode today is Won't You Be My Neighbor 201. And the things...
There's the doorbell.
That's okay. We're going to just edit it right out.
Okay.
It's totally fine. The thing about it is, maybe we won't edit that out. Maybe because...
I think we're going to hit pause.
We're going to hit pause?
Do we need to?
No, let's just roll.
Okay, let's roll. They're quieted down. Yeah. Well, because it's the other Ryan. It's Peyton's math tutor, the other Ryan, and the dogs like Ryan.
So I hate that Ryan.
They're not going to keep barking is what I mean. Is
trying to replace me with math. In any case, so why this is so different, obviously, like for obvious reasons, it's not just like you can just have a party with everybody anytime you want. Like it's different. It's different. So I'm really interested.
Well, and then for context, we're also recording this a day after the inauguration. And so here we are in mid-January and things are tense. Tense. We'll call it tense.
Tense. Yes. Was really thankful though yesterday to see nothing crazy happen.
Absolutely.
It was very, very, with the insurrection, like, right.
On the 6th.
That's bad.
Correct. That's actually when I decided that we were going to do a redo of this episode, because I do think the community stuff is our way back. It's the thing. It's our life raft.
Yes.
It's our life raft. It's how we can get back on track as a larger society.
Yeah.
So, we need, but then there was also the stuff of, well, it's a little different, because last time, back in Won't You Be My Neighbor, which we didn't call one-on-one.
Yeah.
We didn't think we were going to need much of a follow-up, have a party and, have a block party, invite people over. Can't really do that right now.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to do it again soon. And that's one of the recommendations we're going to get down into in here. But we need to be thinking about community. It's so very important and so vital right now. We need to cultivate community. How?
So how do we do it? Right. We're probably more divided than we have. I don't want to say ever been, but in recent memory, we can't really get together. Relationships are strained.
It's winter. I mean, that has an effect, especially if you live somewhere really cold without sun.
Right.
It's not nothing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Boston boy.
There was snow in Texas.
There was last week.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I'm in such trouble. Okay. So one of the things that we did in COVID tide was, we were the typical urban family. We got a place so that if anything like this happened again, we can retreat. So we have a place on the river outside of Austin. It was snowing there, like winter wonderland kind of snowing. My children were because we didn't drive there beforehand. And you're from Boston, you know, I'm not going to get on Texas roads when none of the cities have snow equipment.
What's salt? What's sand?
Exactly.
A plow? I've never even heard of it before.
We don't have any snow equipment personal either. And we don't have to, I mean, don't go up against us in the rain. I know how to drive in the rain really, really well. Texans in general don't know how to drive in the snow. I'm not getting on. The children were furious at me because I would not take them out to the river while it was snowing and gorgeous.
So I had to drive back from a leadership conference that day that it really came down. And what was normally a 5-hour trip was an 8-hour trip.
Right.
But I was shocked at how many accidents there were. I could not believe it. I thought to myself, these people have never driven in snow before. But the thing is, they actually have never driven in snow before.
Exactly. It's not, I mean, for various reasons, I have driven in snow. So I know things like, coasting and, no hard brakes, no hard accelerations or deceleration, But you hit
the skid like
right,
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Stuff like that. If you don't know any of that stuff, you know, it's follies on ice.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, a dozen, 16, 18. I mean, enough.
And those signs that we ignore all over Texas 98% of the time, or 98.99% of the time, bridge may ice in cold weather. Okay. When that sign is still out in August when it's 107. Okay. Yeah. So, you just don't even see it. And then there's the one day a year that you're like, oh, actually, that bridge might ice.
Yeah.
Do I see any black ice over there?
Yeah. I was happy. You could make snowballs. You could, you could have a little bit of fun, make some snow angels. It wasn't quite enough for like a snowman, like the ones that were out there were,
you could build a teacup snowman.
Yeah, exactly. So, in any case, super fun, but also just slow down, y'all. Texas, please. Yeah. Just slow down.
But driving in snow is a talent, just like driving in rain is a talent,
Just need a little time in the saddle. Yeah. Okay, so I want you to be my neighbor. 201. Tell us why this matters.
Well, as we just said, because it's our lifeboat. It's our way back. Yeah. It's our way back. The fact remains that no matter, you can affect what's going on in your neighborhood, in your community, in a way that you just can't affect what's going on at the national level or in the world, or most of us can't. Right? So use that. Not to mention the fact, as we've all learned, as we've been, shut up in our homes and stuff, it's very important to know the people that live within 500 yards of you.
Yeah.
For emergency reasons, for loneliness reasons. I mean, just for your own personal life enjoyment, it's important to know the people in your neighborhood that live around you. And by the way, yes, the titles of these episodes are a tribute to Mr. Rogers, who, that's what he used to always touch.
That Tom Hanks movie was incredible. Oh my gosh. I hadn't watched it yet.
Fred Rogers was incredible. But yes, the Tom Hanks movie.
Could not. Lauren and I, when we finished watching it, you go, don't you just feel better about the whole world?
Yes.
Don't you just, yeah, it was crazy.
Did you watch Mr. Rogers much as a kid?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
all
was he live then or was he on rerun? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
Right.
But I mean, the song, the showing, the throwing of the shoe, the sweater. Yeah. It's funny that the trolley,
the stoplight on the wall.
Yeah. The trolley that goes to the land of make believe, it would go do 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 do. Anyway, when Hallie and I are like running around in my house and we're playing tag or something, when I'm chasing her, I always go do 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 do.
Okay, interesting. Did you remember that's where you got it from, or was it just a rhythm that you had in your head? And it's not until you go back and you watch that movie that you're like, oh my gosh.
So what happened was
I've been using that for years with my daughter.
Yeah. So what happened was I did it sort of instinctively. But once I had to think about where did this come from, and then I remember, because that was always my favorite part of Mr. Rogers, I can remember I was hyped when it was time to go to the land of make believe. Yeah. And see King Friday the 13th, baby. Like, let's go. I was always excited. Anyway, Wow. Okay, that's going off the rails. So what can we do right now, Leslie?
Well, one of the things and this is particular to our time right now, we need to ask for an offer of forgiveness and make fresh starts.
Yes.
Give ourselves the options for a fresh start and give our neighbors an option for a fresh start. And there's, 200 different contexts that this can be about, but it's a good life lesson.
Yeah.
And by the way, okay, now we'll get a little bit, for those of you watching who are actually members of the Christian faith, this is not optional. This part is what we're supposed to do. For everybody else, I recommend it because there's a reason that's a tenet of our faith, because it's a really, really good idea. But for those of you that are a member of our faith, it's your job.
Yeah. Not
negotiable. It's your duty, not negotiable.
So it's hard for me not to just totally go into preaching mode when I saw this. But one of the things that my pastor always says, and it's a great, great line. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
That's an excellent line. Yes.
Yeah. So why? Really ask yourself, why do I feel like I cannot forgive this person?
Right.
I mean, listen, I haven't, and I'm not going to pretend to, and I'm just thinking of everyone that's listening right now. Ryan, you don't know what that person did to me. Well, dude, you don't know what that person did to me.
Right.
You don't know the hardships and the things that I've gone through. And I don't know the things that you've gone through. But I will tell you that your life will be enriched better. You'll be happier. You'll have better wellness if you can find the ability to forgive.
Right.
That is a critical piece. If you keep all that stuff up inside of you, it can manifest physically, can manifest mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, you're down and out. Maybe you're fighting a bout of depression.
Mm-hmm.
You're
cut
off
sour
from
old
people.
Person, you're lonely, whatever it is.
If this comes, and this is what I have found. If this comes down to you have to be right because of an argument or a stance or a party affiliation, if you have to be right.
Or because of masks. Like I really... Because I know, It's January, and so we're thinking political stuff, but we've also been through all sorts of crazy pandemic. Like there's tons of things going on right now that we need. Right. But yes, if you need to be right.
Yeah. If you need to be right, then what you're saying is I care about my ego more than this person that I have built a relationship up about, right? Because that's what it is. Being right is a fulfillment of ego. It's like, yes, I'm right. Dude, your ego is a lie. It's not a real thing. Like it doesn't have any tangible effect on the world. What does have a tangible effect on the world is relationship.
Right.
Okay.
And I usually say it is, do you want to be right or do you want to be effective?
Exactly.
Because sometimes the people that are just determined, no, I am just going to be right. They don't reach anybody. They alienate. Do you want to actually see the problem that you foresee that you think you're right about? Do you want to see that problem solved? Or do you just want the world to know that, well, you see the problem?
Right.
Well, great. Lots of people see the problem.
Congratulations. You can spot a problem. You're a problem spotter. Amazing. Try being a problem solver instead.
Right.
I'm fired up now. I'm fired up.
But I really do like that lack of forgiveness is drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That is, that one's good.
Yep.
That one's
Pastor
good.
Paul Sika.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The other thing you can do is pay more attention to your neighbors. And most likely in the pandemic, you've done more of this book because we were stuck at home and you saw the next door neighbor at your apartment or the people that live on your block. You saw them a bit more often. You learned their dog's name. You learned who they were. Do it more intentionally now. first of all, if you have started to see more of them and you know who, Ryan, we were talking about this in the pandemic when we had some of those episodes about, pulling together and how to get through this, crazy summer.
Yeah.
You were talking, you knew more people on your block now.
Yeah.
Well, now you can use that going forward. You can use that and you can expand on it.
While you were saying that, I was thinking about that, how I had grown this relationship with my neighbors. And last week, my uncle passed away. Very sort of, it was sort of like a devastating day. I was obviously really upset for my mom too. And I was walking to get the mail, and one of my new friends, one of my neighbors, comes out. His dad had just passed away too, that very same day. And so
it's a miserable thing to connect over, but still.
It is. But, you find comfort when people are struggling with certain things, right? And so I found that I was able to speak into his life. And I think he was able to speak into my life. That whole thing, this whole 30-minute conversation that happens on the sidewalk while my dog is trying to run around like crazy, doesn't happen if I didn't engage him months and months and months ago.
Right.
As a matter of fact, we wouldn't even have our new puppy if it wasn't for them, because they run a dog rescue. So now we have a rescue puppy that we took on because we met. Right. So now all of a sudden there are these threads that these individual threads that are getting weaved together and that now have made a cord. And now it's like, they've come to our house. We've gone to their house. It is not out of the ordinary to see them barbecuing and then put a burger on and offer it to me or something like that. I couldn't tell you anything about political affiliation. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you a little bit about their faith because I brought that up a couple times. The thing that mattered the most was two families connecting in a way that most likely would not have been possible if you just sort of come home from work, get out of your car, go into your house.
Wave, go into your house.
Wave, right? And that would have been the end of it.
Right.
So I'm not saying that we're best friends, but I do know that if something happened, I could knock on that door and say, Heinz, Caroline, XYZ just happened. We need some help.
Yep.
And they do it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And that's really what you want when you're talking about.
And the same thing, it would go in reverse.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know each other's names. You feel comfortable going up and knocking on the, like you said, somebody's grilling. Okay, extra hamburger here. You want one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So, even our neighbor's yard, who they're older, we ended up doing some yard work for them just to be nice, So anyway, the point is get involved with your neighbors because your life is enriched by people and relationships. Even if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, that doesn't really apply here.
No.
What applies is connection.
Right.
So,
well, and an introvert is going to connect differently than an extrovert. Fine.
Yep. Cool.
But introvert doesn't mean I don't want any connections.
Yeah.
Or I don't need any connections. No, which, not to mention the fact it might turn out that your neighbor next door is an introvert too. And frankly, y'all, sorry, I'm going to use a toddler term. You parallel play well together. Earlier he was talking about, sometimes you can do these errand things and you can do them together.
Absolutely.
Okay, save on some gas and, go up to the grocery store together, do your thing, and then maybe, have a cup of tea afterwards and go your merry way.
Yeah. You knocked out something on your list. You made a connection and you
talked for the 15-minute to and from car ride.
Right. And, and that's cool. And you did it together and it was easy and it's no problem. So,
so think about ways that because each of you is going to have, your own details about how this might happen. I
just have to say this.
Go for it.
Because I can hear people saying it right now. Ryan, Leslie, but my neighbors aren't friendly. They're not friendly people. And so my response to that is are you friendly?
Yes. Your behavior is the only one that you can control. And okay, it might take longer, whatever. Kind of back up to the offer forgiveness and a fresh start. Offer the friendliness.
Yes.
If they don't take you up on it, I totally get it. But
it's not a condemning item on your personality. It's not a rejection. It's whatever. But like, if you want to have friends, make yourself friendly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do the first step.
Yeah.
Do the first step. And that's really what we're talking about here, is that no matter what's going on in your community, start taking those first steps yourself.
Yes. You have to be the person that steps out.
Yeah. Because maybe your neighbor 2 doors down in the hallway is actually listening to this podcast too and thinking the same thing and knows the next time.
Can you imagine?
Oh, there we go.
You listen to Ryan and Leslie too. I do. All that Mandalorian stuff was so ridiculous, right? They went on for 15 minutes before they even started. Okay.
That was the last episode.
That was the last one. Okay. So we started touching upon it. Look to support local journalism.
Right. So same thing. The issues in your community are the ones that you can affect. And the more you know about what's going on in your community, the more you can have an effect in your community, the more you can have a say in your community, the more you might have something to discuss with your neighbor. Like there's, oh my gosh, yeah, did you hear? But did you get caught in that traffic down there? Yeah, no, apparently they're fixing this thing and it's going to be done in 2 weeks. Hopefully, suddenly it's a conversation more in depth about the weather about the weather.
Right.
And but you know what? They said they were going to be done in 2 weeks. It's been going on for 4. Well, you want to write a letter to the city hall with me? Yeah, you know what? Let's both write a letter. Whatever it is. I mean, obviously, I'm using a little bit of a truncated idea, but you have things in common. And no matter where you stood on masks or which candidate you voted for or something like that, you and your neighbor probably have more in common about that traffic problem up the street than anything else, which is one of the things. Oh, we're getting ready to get to that one, but I'll jump ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Try to focus where you agree.
Yes.
That's one of the best things you can do to build community. Stop paying attention to, we're different because, no, we're the same. We agree on these things and start there. You can move out to the differences later. Start with the agreements.
Right.
And a lot of times that's going to be local issues. And in order to talk about and use those local issues to help foster, you need to know them. So support local journalism because it's in trouble right now.
Yeah.
Pay more attention to local issues.
Mm-hmm.
Make an effort to do it. Turn off the national crap.
Turn off the national crap.
Turn off DC.
Yeah. You have to remember, right, that most likely on the local level, the things that are affecting you are the things that are affecting them, right? So there's this Amazon warehouse that's being built in our neighborhood right now. It's like
is it being built? I've driven by it many times going out 10, but
yeah, it's
being built.
It's being built.
On the 10 side, it looks like it's done.
No, so this might be a different facility because it's like we're a little bit further away from 10. So it's like it's a warehouse. It's not like massively huge, but it's enough that like our little back roads and 4-way stop signs and things like that, like they're not
little back roads and now they're messes of dump trucks and
Or there was this bar that sort of seemingly opened up like right in the middle of the neighborhood, and it was kind of like, man, that's kind of weird, right? Like what happened there? Anyway, Heinz is dealing with all of those issues. My neighbor.
Oh, your neighbor. I'm like Heinz, the real estate company.
No,
okay,
not Heinz Ketchup. No, his name. Yeah, right.
Heinz. Okay, got it.
So Heinz is dealing with all of these issues. I'm dealing with all of these issues, and so like that's an easy sort of thing to talk about.
Right
now, when you get into conversations where you clearly you know that you're about to disagree, right? It happens to everyone.
It does.
Just make the decision to just stop talking.
Pull up.
Yeah. Pull up, red leader. Right? Just pull up. Just evasive maneuvers. Just get out.
Exactly.
It's not worth it because when people get emotional, they make bad decisions.
No.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm shocked.
I know.
Shocked at that.
So just steer It's just they're clear of it.
And especially early on, because later on you can start to, once again, focus on the things that you agree on and then move out later to the other stuff. Because not saying that in order to preserve friendships, you should never talk about things that you disagree on. Absolutely not at all. But maybe not the first couple times you meet.
Yeah. And I've talked about in marriage, we have like the marital bank account where it's like I deposit. And when I have to make a withdrawal, which means I have to have a tough conversation with Lauren, like that's usually worth 5 positive things. It's just the same thing with the neighbor, right? It's like positive. Okay, now I can tell that our relationship can withstand this thing, and I feel compelled to speak about it, but not because I need to be right, not because I need to feed my ego, but
because it needs to actually get sorted. Like, our dogs aren't getting along so well, or there's all sorts of stuff you can come up with.
You'll know, right? You'll know if it's just arguing for arguing's sake, and there's nothing that either one of you can do about it.
In general, don't argue with people that aren't listening. Like if you perceive that somebody's not listening, there's no point in arguing. Or if you're not listening, why engage? Like if you're already completely decided, don't engage if there's no openness and potential for actually listening and persuasion.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just rancor.
Yeah. It's bad. There's no reason to do it.
Right.
You're going to leave frustrated. They're going to leave frustrated, and your relationship will have taken a hit because of it.
Right.
Instead of doing something in a cooperative manner where it will be better off because of it. So, okay. So I see this plan for herd immunity.
Okay. This gets back to some of the 101 stuff.
Yeah.
But vaccines are rolling out.
Are you sure? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. There is a light at the end of this tunnel.
Yes.
All right. At some point, probably in 2021, we are going to be able to hang out without socially distancing. We'll be able to have meetings and gatherings and house parties again. It will happen. Right now, it kind of feels like it's never going to happen, but it will. Heck, in some places, there's enough going around that we're starting to hit. I'm wondering if we're hitting natural herd immunity, but I'm not looking at the statistics that closely. One way or another, we're going to get to the point where we can gather again.
Yes.
Plan it out. Use your imagination. What do you want to do? Oh my goodness, the pent up gathering, and have a party. Set up. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I can be able to see you again. Let's go to the pub down the street from here every Thursday night now, so that we can hang out. And your original every Thursday might end up just becoming one Thursday a month after you've done it a few times. So it's better than what you were doing before, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's better than sharing a beer over a Zoom call. You know what I mean?
Okay, Zoom has been great in a pinch. I've got Zoom fatigue. How about you?
Yeah. Oh,
total
absolutely.
Zoom fatigue.
Absolutely.
Yes. Although there are still some meetings that, so for instance, the board meeting that I missed the other day, there's no reason why we can't. Going forward, that's a perfect example of the kind of meeting that we can have. We can have them a little more frequently if we do them on Zoom, because we need to have them a little, because they got to be the point where they were hassles. So we were really only having them quarterly.
Yeah.
But to do what we need to do, we really need to have them monthly. Well, that's totally doable on Zoom. And if I'm not Zooming everything and I'm just Zooming the things that work, well, then great. Now, as long as we're meeting together sometimes, my Zoom tolerance will go back up. Right now, I don't want to see the Zoom screen ever again.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Right. So anyway, start planning for once things, I'm not going to say return to normal, because I think our normal, especially after this long, is going to look very different than what February 2020 is going to look foreign to us by February of 2022. I hope so too. But it's a different life from a different time. So plan ahead, think through what you want to do. How do you want to engage your neighbors? How do you want to have people over? Honestly, Team Loftus, we're talking about, because you know how we have New Year's party and stuff. Well, we've got lots of milestones coming up this year, all sorts of significant birthdays and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to have a ball.
Oh, of course.
The kids are like a formal ball.
I mean,
we're going to have a ball.
I mean, but that's the point, right? Like, let's.
And by the way, I do in fact need 8 months to plan that.
Yeah. Right. So if I start today, we probably should.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it'll be sometime late in the fall, Thanksgiving-ish time. Yeah. So tell Lauren she's going to need a ball gown.
Okay, we'll do. And
you need a tux.
I need to be able to button the jacket. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. One of those things you can do for community involvement in post-COVID is, I don't know, start taking walks with friends.
Walks with friends is great.
Yeah. I've gotten back into tennis with friends, and that's saving my pant size.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm the funny story here, guys, for that you don't know. So, all right. 30-second commercial break.
Okay.
Many episodes ago, I said, I want to be a 34. I'm a 34. I'm a 34 waist. And so I have my jacket. It's tailored. She's don't smirk yet. I haven't even gotten to the punchline.
But I got another punchline.
Well, the punchline is your boy wasn't a 34 during COVID. And it just it got out of control. And I think especially with the ease of DoorDash became a thing.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
It's
and suddenly high sodium, high fat food was just delivered right to your door.
Right to your door. What do you want? You can have it all, you know? And they're offering free delivery. It's someone's just literally dropping this food off. Anyway, so it's it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. And so then the top of my pants were folding on top of themselves. And then I had a dinner that I had to go to, and I get my jacket, my favorite jacket, tailored, looking sweet. I put this bad boy on, and it wasn't even oh, that button's gonna burst. You know, you
couldn't button. Okay,
could not button it. Could not button it.
To Closet 101, you should be able to always, if you have a jacket or anything, you should be able to close it without stress.
Lots of stress over here.
Yeah.
Well,
and stress on the buttons or the zippers or the ties. Not.
I wouldn't even. I was stressing because I was sweating. I was this is a problem. I gotta do something. So anyway, yeah.
And then you're looking at a closet of stuff that you can't wear.
Yeah.
Right. So then you also have the expense of it, not to mention the health stuff. You're kind of
that was a scary moment where it was sort of let me take 3/4 of my closet, put it over here because I can't fit into any of that. And then, I can basically rotate these 4 t-shirts over and over and over again. But I digress. The point is, find things to do with people whenever you can.
Yes.
Connect with people, as we talked about the last episode with our calendars, that we also, while we need to do things in a focused and efficient way, understand that building relationships with neighbors, friends, maybe people that you have lost connection with, you can do life's tasks with other people.
Yes.
The task isn't always as important, or the relationship is more important than efficiency. Stop, slow down, be with people, have a good time, enjoy, and don't be thinking about, man, this is taking so long. If I wasn't with this person, blah, blah, blah.
And here, one caveat to help you stop thinking about that is don't do it for everything. Sometimes, don't rationalize everything. Well, efficiency is not important in a relationship. So therefore efficiency is never important. No. But if you have the option to, okay, it's going to take you, an hour and a half to do this hour-long thing if you do it with somebody else, but you haven't had a chance to connect with them for a while, do that.
Can I make a suggestion?
You're not always going to have that option.
Yeah. Right. If you can do 2 things a week, maybe
Absolutely.
3
That's
things.
An excellent goal.
That's what Lauren and I do, is that our goal is to find things that we know other people are going to be doing and try to do it between 2 and 3 times a week.
Right.
Done deal. That's it. So,
and we were just talking a minute ago about introverts and extroverts. Okay. If you're extremely extroverted, and you've got go for 4. If you're introverted, go for 1 or 2. I mean, you don't have to 86 the plan. You just have to modify the plan to work a little bit better for you.
But do something. Do something.
Do something to foster connections amongst your neighbors.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Good.
There we go.
Moving on.
Okay. Stuff that you can do for, like, this is not specific to this time in particular.
No.
But this is just good advice for always. We just covered one of them. Focus on where you agree. Start there. Start with the commonalities rather than the differences.
Right. So can we just give like maybe 2 or 3 examples on like, so where do people agree? Well, we probably love our kids, right? So parents, right? So you can talk about, kids. Don't drown on and on and on and on about kids, right? But we can probably talk about kids.
Maybe you're a dog or a cat person, or you both went to the same college. I mean, you live in the same neighborhood again. So clearly you have similar tastes in community environments,
No. I was just thinking about, so I have a friend named Kent, and I mean, we have kids, and that's basically what we have in common, right? We don't have it like I'm a gamer, he's a hunter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're a musician. I'm a musician. He's an engineer.
Yeah,
right. Actually, that's not that different, but okay. Yeah.
Oil and water. Now, our personalities are the same. Like we're a little jovial. We like to joke around, all that sort of stuff. But it can be hard to generate conversation about things that you don't know. Start asking questions.
Right.
So I kid you not. I hope that like we don't get the explicit label for this. But last weekend, I had a master class in deer insemination. You weren't ready for that one, were you?
Wasn't ready for that one.
A master class. And that
although I do know something about deer insemination, and pig insemination is worse, but okay.
And that there are auctions.
Yes.
There are auctions for deer semen and like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Uh-huh.
Now, when I walked in to see Kent, I did not know that I would walk out
with all of that knowledge about deer insemination.
But all I had to do, right, when I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't care about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, doesn't care about games, not really into music. But when I just wanted to know about his life, I mean, he's just like rattling off. And all it takes is you to have the ability to say, I'm going to ask this person questions.
Right.
Because people love to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even practice that. That was good.
Yep.
People love to talk about themselves. So give them an opportunity to do it. And when they talk about themselves in front of you, they will find you more friendly.
And you will find more things that you can agree. There will be something in there that you can say, oh.
Right.
I mean, you're going to find some areas where you agree on things.
And be interested.
Right. And move into those.
Yeah. And just be interested. So even if you don't have a million things that you agree on or you have in common, just like find out what makes a person tick, what they're into. And
the common thing might be that you tick the same way.
Right. And
like you said, you just kind of like both of you were intellectually curious about things that you don't. So you're perfectly willing to sit there and listen to a conversation about deer insemination when you don't know much about it. But you're kind of like, okay, that's neat and cool.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, you know what? Like I can tell you how to water cool a GTX 3080 or RTX 3080, but I couldn't tell you about, you know what I'm saying? Just like.
Exactly. But he's the same kind of guy that would listen to you talk about how to water cool that.
Exactly.
Right? The thing you have in common is that intellectual curiosity. Find those common things and use them.
Yeah. So ask questions. You want to be friendly? Ask people questions about themselves and then be interested and then ask more questions.
Another lifelong lesson. Examine your own assumptions, behaviors, and reactions, because the big thing to remember, the only thing that you really have complete and total control over is your own actions. And yes, that person wronged you, or this person was rude, or this person did whatever it is. Really, when it comes down to it, the only behavior you can control is your own. So make sure you're being the kind of neighbor that you'd like to be. or aim to be the kind of neighbor that you'd like to be, because we all fall short sometimes too. And also give yourself a little bit of grace to, ask for, if you screw up, you hit your neighbor's fence and knock it down, well, tell them you're sorry, offer to pay for it or fix it, that sort of stuff.
Because that potentially has the ability to be a funny story around a campfire 2.5 years from now.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, there are so many things in life that we can get so worked up about right in the moment. But as long as you don't blow up the reaction and turn it into, a lifelong grudge match, Hatfields and McCoys kind of thing. Yeah. 2 years from now around a campfire, it'll be funny. Oh my gosh, he was coming in and he didn't turn on the lights and ran over my fence.
My fence. So
yeah, exactly.
Yep. Totally.
Okay. We're having lots of jinx moments here.
Yes. So that's well said. I can't put anything else on top of that. You're right. The only thing you control is your own reaction, your own emotions. Now, this last one, we sort of
circled. And I did this. This one bookends because this is the one this is the one that matters.
Yeah.
Offer forgiveness and grace and accept forgiveness and grace.
I mean, let that sit.
And again, for you Christians, not an option.
Not an option.
For the rest of you, really good advice.
Yeah. Because anything else will only hinder your ability to make connections with people. And all of the stuff that you have, all of the money, all of the cars, the house, like at the end of it, none of that stuff is coming to your funeral.
Nope.
But the people that you make connections with, the legacy that you leave is through people, not things. So,
closing thought.
Be quick to go ahead.
Best funeral I've ever been to was my sister-in-law's father. Aim for this funeral. And I mean, now as I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of like, yeah, this was an episode on, how to live like John. But when we got to the funeral, the only one that wasn't surprised by the crowd was his wife.
Love it.
Even the pastor. And people got up and said different things about him at different times. He'd apparently been a pain in the butt to the pastor because he was paying for the choir robes and but wanted them in a certain color or trimmed a certain way or something like that. Well, I'm paying for it. So you know, so he was kind of a salty guy and stuff, but he was paying nobody but the pastor and his wife knew that he'd pay for the choir robes. There were other people that, nobody knew that he'd put this family's kids through college. I mean, it was community college, but there was all over the place. He found this guy on the side of the road and helped him out fix a flat, and then they became friends over time. And, John became his mentor. He sang in the choir, which is why he was buying the choir robes. He served on the vestry. He was he was helping this family with this. He went over there and he helped them build a shed in the back of their garden. Again, the only one who wasn't shocked at this was his wife. She was the only one that had known really what he did in the community. And he was a foundational thread in that they lived in a small town, right? I mean, that's another thing. I mean, imagine that kind of feat pulling off in a small town. He didn't talk about it. He didn't brag about it or anything else, but he was everywhere, helping, connecting, lifting up, assisting, arguing.
Yeah.
I mean, a
little salty.
Like I said, a little salty. It was the most beautiful funeral I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Aim for that one.
Yeah. Reminds me of my grandfather in the way that the phrase I have for him is that he treated everyone like they were the only one.
Yes.
And so when you were with him, he was just so connected with you. He was so involved, but then had the uncanny ability to be able to do that with every single person that he touched and that he met. And when he passed, same kind of funeral, right? It's these priests just show up by the droves. I mean, this man would write letters to all the new seminarians that came through and just say,
Words
the church is in good
encouragement. Yeah.
hands. Your future is bright. You know, I mean, just never even met the person before, but we'll just do that kind of stuff. Anyway, so that's just to say, like, what you're doing, won't you be my neighbor? You're building relationships to ultimately leave legacy for
Right.
what right looks like in the world. And if you don't want to do that, then you got to look in the mirror and question your heart, because like if being right is more important than that, it's like, well, what are we really doing here?
Then yeah, what's your goal?
What's your goal? Yeah, great way to put it.
Anyway.
Anything else? Can we wrap it?
Wow, this was a heavier episode. We can wrap this.
Dude,
one.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I am into it. Into it. Oh, it's good. If that's my segue into the show. Like, if pause, you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you slap that like button, click subscribe, leave us a comment. Maybe let us know about some of the things that you would like to do, or maybe how you could be more friendly, or maybe share a story about kindness in your life, or a time that maybe you had unforgiveness and what you did to overcome that. We'd love to hear those sorts of things. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, I don't even know what they call it. They like switching all the time.
They do.
If you're listening to us on a podcast,
anywhere you find
them, go ahead and leave a thumbs up or whatever rating system that they use. That really helps us. You can leave comments on there. You can find me at Ryan Tailon, RyanTaillon. It's been a while. And Leslie, where can I find you?
I'm at Leslie Loftus Text TX on Twitter, and Leslie at Life Administration. So feel free to email me comments, questions, episode ideas. I like those.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, I've been Ryan Tailon.
And I have been Leslie Loftus, and we'll talk to you later.
See you in the next one. Take care.